Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're signing in from. My name is Rick Phillips. I'm the Executive Director of NCCA Canada, and we are one of the hosts of this event. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have some people here from overseas. We have some people from Canada, from the States, from Hong Kong. We have a big delegation from Iran. We have some local companies that have sent a bunch of people here. So first of all, I just want to start off by saying welcome and thank you. Thank you very much. Now, why are we here? So this event's called Business Communication Up. You read the description, obviously. I think it's because we all can consider that we need to keep working on our communication skills. Is it our verbal and nonverbal? Is it the setup we have for our office, virtual or real office? Is it something about how we communicate to our employees or even our family? Communication is one of those things we can always be constantly working on, and people like myself are always constantly working on it. And maybe that's what brings you here as well. So I want to thank you, tell you that you're in the same company of people who are communication professionals or communication enthusiasts. And together, we're going to have a great day of learning. Just a quick note about NCCA Canada. We are a nationally registered nonprofit. And what we're all about is two main missions. One is to support the communication coaches and professionals, to give them some opportunities for professional development and networking. So that is one of our main tiers. And the second one is to support the public, to give you a chance to attend events like this, and maybe to find someone who can help you and your company grow as well. So those are our two main focus of our organization. One thing I want to say is, if you like this event, you can support us by coming to these events. You may sign up to our newsletters so that you can stay in touch with other events that come up. And if you really like, you may sign up as a general member for the big prize of $30 a year, and you may support us that way so that we can continue to bring events like this with, I believe, great speakers, great panelists, and we've hired a great company to help us with this, and we're able to keep the ticket prices low. So that's what we're doing, and if you want to help us and support us, please do. For now, I just want to have a moment to thank our partners and sponsors, because to be honest, without them, we certainly could not do this on our own. That's a fact. So let me just, if you don't mind me, I'm just looking at my notes. Who do I want to thank? First of all, Yeti, York Entrepreneurship Development Institute. They are a charity themselves, and they support entrepreneurs, both here and abroad. So that's their mission. They're a big partner. The City of Toronto, we had our last two events before COVID at Toronto City Hall, and some of you here attended one or both of those events. So it's interesting that even as we went to a virtual event, City of Toronto still supported us, and we love that because we have the same mission of helping small business and entrepreneurs. I want to thank Seator Games. Seator Games is an interesting company. It's a game in the same vein as chess and Go, and it's a game that tests your abstract and logical thinking, kind of left side, right side brain operating at the same time. And it's a game that's growing in popularity with tournaments as well. There's an app version, and there's a board game. I just want to show you what that looks like. Yes, this is me plugging our sponsors. This is exactly what we do for great partners. And you can play from one person to two or three people, team players. It tests your leadership. It tests your different style of thinking. And it's a great game that's growing in popularity. And as a matter of fact, the maker of the game, the founder, Dr. Bronikoff, he's with us today, and he's going to be networking around, and maybe you can ask him questions if you want. But basically, he's very generous. He's donated a game to our panelists and our speakers, and also a couple free prizes. So there will be games that we're going to do today, and there's some prizes involved, so that's great. Now, another sponsor, CIBC. It's the bank we use, it's the bank Yeti uses, and they understand how to support entrepreneurs and small business, and we appreciate their support. Allcan Trust. Allcan Trust helps small and medium-sized businesses through marketing support, helping accessing government grants, rebates, and low-risk loans. And finally, CTI Global, one of our biggest sponsors. Instead of me talking about CTI Global, I'm going to allow Paul Jenkins, the director, to say a few words on behalf of CTI Global. Paul.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for hosting, as they say. My name is Paul Jenkins, and I am the director of CTI Global. CTI stands for Consulting, Training, and Investments. What we do is support overseas entrepreneurs that want to come to Canada, and we help them in all aspects of creating a startup and moving to Canada. I think personally I have the best job in the world because we deal with startups. For those of you who have never been part of a startup, well, the energy is phenomenal, creating something out of one's mind from nothing. All the hopes, dreams, frustrations, realizations, etc. It's a life-changing event, and like giving birth to a baby, it is an extremely special process. Some of the people in attendance today have gone through the process with us. And if you get a chance during the networking sessions, I highly recommend that you try to find these new aspiring Canadian startup entrepreneurs and you get to know each other. I'll be around for the networking sessions personally, and I hope to get to meet you. So in conclusion, I would also like to say thanks to Rick and the people at NCCA for hosting. I'm happy we are a major sponsor of this event because in addition to being a great networking opportunity, there'll be a lot of learning going on with a lot of marketing and communication stuff that all of us can get better at. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope to see you at the networking sessions.
That's great, Paul. Thanks very much. We definitely appreciate your support. I mentioned a bunch of sponsors and partners. Here's another one, a very big one. I'd like to introduce you to Louis Trahan. He's the founder of LearnGistics, which is the company that's actually hosting our virtual event, because once again, we cannot do this ourselves. So Louis, thank you so much and take it away.
Thanks, Rick. LearnGistics is very excited to be part of this event. For those of you who don't know us, we help companies and organizations run live and virtual events. And our focus is on trying to make sure that someone who wants to move a live event virtually or host a live event for the first time virtually doesn't end up with just another boring webinar. And we do that in a number of ways, but the main way we do it is by looking at the awesome content that they're bringing to the table. And then how do we do a great production of that, kind of like we are here on the main stage right now? How do we add in opportunities for engagement from the participants? I think that's a very important part. We want you to create memories in events. And then we package that all up into a really easy to manage and navigate virtual venue. So we hope that you enjoy today's sessions, and we hope that we're able to help NCCA make this a memorable virtual event for you and for them. Now, I mentioned a virtual venue, and I have the pleasure now of helping you understand how to move around this virtual venue. So first of all, thank you to those of you who are watching. You made it. You logged in, and you clicked on the main stage button, and it brought you to the main stage. And quite frankly, that's how you operate within this venue. You just click on the links, click on the banners, and it'll bring you to the rooms and places you need to be to. Right now, we're in the main stage, and the main stage is where we will hold today's opening session. We'll be here till around 1:45, and then it's also where we're going to hold the panel discussion later. And when you want to communicate within the main stage, if you look down to the bottom right of your screen, you're going to see an open chat. You can open that chat and go ahead and do it now if you'd like. Put your name and where you're from. This is how you can communicate with the panelists. This is how you communicate with the speakers. This is how you can communicate with each other on the main stage. When we're done here, we're going to move to breakout sessions. And the way to do that is you'll notice at the top of the screen on the left-hand side, there's a link that says lobby. When you click on that link, and don't click on it now, we don't want you to leave, it'll bring you back to the lobby, and then you can look for a banner that says breakout rooms. When you click on the breakout rooms, it'll bring you to another room, a hallway, believe it or not, that has rooms that you can enter into it for the different breakout sessions. When you click on the room that you want to enter, it'll open up a Zoom meeting. When you're done, just close it, head back to the lobby to get ready for the next event. Listen, if you get stuck or if something happens, your camera's not working, it happens often, there's a help desk there. Go over, click on the help desk. It'll open up a chat, and someone from tech support will be able to help you. And then the last but not least is whenever we do an event like this, we want to hear from you. We want you to be able to communicate with us. And we also want to have a little bit of a healthy competition going on. So we have built gamification within this platform. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to actually give you a chance to practice right now if you haven't already clicked on the banner that says Games Room. Right now on the screen right below me, somewhere where my fingers are, there is a QR code. And what you need to do is take your phone, open up your camera app, and just hold it over to that QR code. What should happen is it should put a little link on your screen that you can click and open up our gamification app. It's going to ask you your name, address and company, or your name and company. So why don't you go ahead and do that now? That's how we're going to practice. And while you're doing that, I think I'm going to get Rick to come back up here and we can talk about the prizes that we have. Rick, you around? There you are.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the prizes we have, first of all, as I mentioned, there's a couple C-Tour games. which are available for prizes as long as the individual is in Ontario. And another is books. We have a couple of very well-regarded authors on our panelist slash speakers. So we have signed books as well to give away. And the third one is 30-minute coaching sessions for free. So regarding the coaching, we will contact the winner and find out what area of expertise you're interested in getting the coaching in. Is it communication? Is it business communication? Is it interview prep? Is it how to talk at the office in a certain way? Conflict management? You name it. So when you tell us what area you'd like to focus on, we will align the right coach for you. So that's why we're not being too specific right now. But those are the prizes, and we're looking forward to just playing the games and having fun and interacting. But we're definitely going to give away some prizes at the end as well.
Well, those sound cool. I wouldn't mind one of those games myself, actually. And I probably need some communication coaching somewhere along the line, so that would be good. I believe I might try to play the game myself as this event goes on, but we will see. Now, I think everyone's had time now to scan that code. And I failed to mention, if you can't scan it, if you look over to the right-hand side of the QR code on your screen, you'll see a link to leda.me/NCCA. If you're just not able to scan the code, you can always surf over to leda.me.ncca. And every time we put up a poll like this, there's going to be a code. And you can see here the code is LRQZN. So just go there, enter the code, and you will be able to participate that way. So don't worry if your scanning is not working. So Rick, why don't we get this started? Why don't we actually give them a chance to earn some points?
Yeah, let's give them a taste of what we're all about. We have a first poll, I think, coming up.
Yeah, there it is. So here's our first poll. What's your virtual meeting pet peeve? Is it A, forgetting to unmute yourself? Is it B, a bad internet connection? Or is it C, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Rick, what do you think? Rick, what's yours?
I'm looking at that right now and I'm thinking to myself, for me, I think the first thing is I'm nervous about the audio visual first. So it's the can you hear me? It's, in some cases, it's not a yes or no. It's I sort of hear you. I can hear you a bit. Well, if you go this way, I can hear it. If you go this way, I can't. So now we're getting all these layers, aren't we? It's not just a simple yes or no. But I would think for me, it's the can you hear me? What about you, Lou?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think audio is the most important part of any of these events. If you think about it, we've been communicating pre-Zoom on the phone. So we're used to communicating with clear audio. So when you get on a Zoom meeting or a webinar and you can't hear, it doesn't matter how clear the picture is. You just can't deal with a shoddy audio signal. So to me, that's the most important part as well.
At least the advantage. I was just going to say, at least the advantage with a Zoom is that you can sort of read lips, right? Whereas before, if someone was on a bad VoIP or something, you really couldn't hear them or they were in a rural area. But at least the advantage is we can read lips and we can illustrate too. So that is an advantage with the Zoom calls.
You're right. And you can also say, I can't hear you, right? So I guess there is some advantage to that, to the mix. Now, I think we've had enough time for people to answer. So why don't we get Courtney to show us the results? Oh, look at that.
We're wrong.
We are not in the majority, my friend.
We are not.
We're getting worse, apparently, as it goes on.
Well, we're second place, not third, so that's okay.
Yeah, I guess it's but no one second or third. So, wow, a bad internet connection. So that is interesting, and I will make note of that. For me, that's it, Rick. I look forward to seeing people in the lounge later. Look up to me if you're looking for any kind of event, big or small. I'm happy to talk to anybody about their events. And Rick, I hope you and the rest of your team have a fantastic rest of the day. Thank you
so much, Louis. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, I love having someone explain the outlay, right? This is where you go for these rooms, how to enter. I'm not the most technical person, but these days we don't have a choice, do we? We're online. We have Zoom meetings, we have Skype meetings, and of course we have virtual events and conferences. So we all have to up our game, don't we? I'd like to introduce you now to the keynote speaker. You've read the description, you may know him, you may have seen some of his other work, you may have attended our previous event. But for those of you that may not know him, let me introduce our keynote speaker, Mark Bowden. I'm reading a little bit to make sure I'm accurate. Mark Bowden is an internationally recognized human behavior and body language expert, author of 4 books on the subject, a member of the Behavior panel, which is a very popular YouTube channel that analyzes verbal and nonverbal communications of famous people who are silly enough to do interviews, like Prince Andrew, for example. Mark coaches business leaders and politicians, including members of the G7, to stand out, win trust, and gain credibility every time they speak. and he trains companies how to present online, including training Zoom. We are fortunate to call him our NCCA Canada President as well. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mark Bowden.
Rick, thank you so much for that great introduction. Great pleasure to be here with you. And Rick, I don't think you've ever been here, so welcome to my home.
Thank
Rick,
you.
you're in my upstairs living room right now. At least it was the upstairs living room, and actually that sofa bed back there would pull out and we'd have guests sleeping here. They won't be sleeping here for a while under the current circumstances. So Rick and everybody watching right now, welcome to my home. You're very, very welcome. We're going to have a conversation together for around about the next kind of half an hour, talking with you about nonverbal communication, body language, and really how you can best communicate via this modality, video. Whether you're a coach, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever you need to do in order to best relate to the people most important in your life and your business. That's what I want to get across to you today in the amount of time that we have. And by the way, you need to join in with me on this. Don't leave me alone. You've literally come round to my living room right now. And if you sit there silent, then, it's going to be a little bit odd. Okay, so please ask questions, and you're going to do that via Rick. Okay, Rick's looking out for you, typing in your questions, and he can ask me those at any point, and I'll keep going back to him as well and making sure that I'm keeping this current content on track for you. Now look, so let's start this off. Let me give you some of the best ways that you can connect with people via video. And the first one is a non-verbal one. Have great eye contact with people. Have great eye contact with them. There is no other point in history that on a first meeting together, really, that you would be in my home with me, and I'm in your home with you, probably, and I'm in personal space with you right now. Look how far in I am into your space right now, and I'm getting really strong eye contact with you. And if we were in the same physical location and I was doing this on a first meeting and we didn't know each other really well, you'd be backing right off. You'd think this is a really, really odd and weird situation. But look how you can tolerate this right now. And actually, you're probably quite liking it, aren't you? Does it feel quite comforting and you already feel like I know you quite well? And if I'm trying to get a business idea across to you, or I'm trying to coach you, or I'm trying to lead you in some way or sell to you in some way, can you see how this level of intimacy that I'm managing to get with you right now is actually really beneficial? And that you wouldn't allow this. This would seem abnormal in the real world. In this virtual live situation, you're actually quite happy with this. Now, what you've got to know as well, and you've experienced this, is there's lots of distractions going on at the same time. I'm on the screen in two places right now, and I'm kind of distracting myself because I'm pretty animated. We can talk about why I'm so animated. There's also a chat coming up here. Courtney, who's the director right now, is saying there's an audio crackle. Let's give it a moment and see if it dissipates. So I hope you're getting good audio from me. As Louis rightly said, audio is really important. I hope you can hear me really well right now. But there's always lots of distractions going on. So how do I get really good eye contact with you? Here's what I do. I get a Post-it note and I draw a big smiley face on it. Now, do you notice when you look at that clear indicator of the smiley face, can you see how your face is already smiling? This is an instinct that you have. Can you see how your eyes want to gravitate towards this smiley face? Again, this is a reflex, an instinct that you had and you developed when you were a very, very small early infant. I take this trigger and I stick it behind my camera like this. I've actually got my webcam on a tripod in front of a bigger screen, and that means I can have everything going on around this camera here, but it means that my eyes gravitate towards that smiley face and I keep good eye contact with you. Now, you'll know as well as I do that strong, prolonged eye contact, when the observer or the observed is in a safe place for them, it raises their levels of dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that triggers the brain into feeling things are going to get good. It triggers the brain into optimism. Therefore, if you're in a safe space right now, which my guess is you're at home, and I hope that's a safe place for you and you feel comfortable there right now, and I'm getting good prolonged eye contact with you, your expectation of optimism, of this will be a good event for you, is going up right now. So, first thing you want to be thinking of when you're trying to make a great relationship via the camera is strong eye contact. If you do nothing else today, do that smiley face post-it note, stick it behind your camera and reap the benefits of that. Rick, I want to come back to you right now. What are your thoughts on what you've been hearing right now? And any questions coming in?
Well, so I think what I think is a question that people are thinking, and I've heard it before, is about people talk about different percentages, I guess, of eye contact, depending on culture, status, gender, etc. Now, if you have any insider thoughts onto how we can, at least from a North American point of view, or if you can speak to anything, that'd be great, since you brought up eye contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give you what I know about that. So the science that I've seen says that you can get up to 20 seconds cross-culturally as long as the person is in a situation that they feel is safe for them and you're not getting across aggressive body language or disruptive body language. Most cultures will tolerate up to 20 seconds of direct eye contact. And actually, they see it as being good. 20 seconds is a long time. So anybody who might have told you, okay, you want to watch out about eye contact, they're not being entirely accurate. Now, we know some cultures, they will denote hierarchy around eye contact. In very hierarchical cultures, there'll be the idea of you must look at me when I'm talking to you if I'm of high status, or in fact the opposite. Don't look at me if I'm talking to you. This is all about keeping the idea of status. So yes, you can watch out for some of those very hierarchical cultures, but on the whole, you are fine. And by the way, Rick, what eye contact does is it lets people see what is of value. This is the system that we use in order to target, and we target what is of value. So if I get eye contact with you, it means you are valuable. Look what happens if I stop looking at you and still talking to you. I mean, look what happens if I'm, taking notes about what we're talking about. I mean, you may not know that because you might not be able to see, what I'm doing here. But if I don't have strong eye contact with you, my guess is that you kind of switch off from this. The moment I get strong eye contact with you and I give you that light Duchenne smile, then it feels a lot better for you. Rick, come back to me. Good, there you are, lovely. And any more thoughts or questions that you've got coming in?
So I don't want this to sound sneaky, but could we use this to our advantage to influence or persuade people, to get them to, I don't want to say we would intentionally want them to feel ignored to maybe get their attention, but if you could give us some insight into how we can use this knowledge to influence and persuade people, even if it's not a virtual event, by the way, even if it's in person, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, here's some of the other things that I'm doing in order to influence and persuade you right now, and also to keep your attention, to keep you engaged with me right now. So you might notice that I'm actually quite animated. I'm not saying that you need to be as animated as me. I'm trying to hold your attention and also bring your attention to this right now. But understand, the language center of the brain doesn't only want to hear the sound, it wants to see images that go along with that sound in order to get its best guess as to what somebody is saying. Okay, and also to get its best guess at what their feeling and intention is right now. Let me show you 3 types of gesture that I'm using a great deal. I'm using open palm gestures a great deal. Anybody who knows my work will know this is kind of a stock of my work, is these open palm gestures. But notice on camera, the frame is different. So, often I would talk to you about doing open palm gestures at exactly navel height to win trust and credibility. But then I lose my proximity with you in order to come back from the camera and show you more. And therefore, by not being so proximate to you, you probably don't feel literally so close to me physically and emotionally. So I want to come forward so I can get closer to you right now. And also, therefore, I want to raise my hands into shot a little bit more so you can see more of me. Just notice the difference between this, everybody. Look, you know, I'm Mark. I have some help for you and your organization, and I want you to trust me around that. Or alternatively, I'm Mark, I have some help for you and your organization, and I want you to trust me around that. Do you notice how you're biased towards the person who you can see more of? When insufficient data, you default to negatives. When more sufficient data, you default to more positives, especially when you see these open palm gestures, a signal of no tools, no weapons, nothing in my hands. Now, there's some other gestures that I'm using. You're seeing a lot of what I call baton gestures. These are the gestures that conduct along, like a conductor's baton, along to the rhythm of the speech. When you see the rhythm of the speech and not only hear the rhythm of the speech, your brain becomes much more optimistic about hearing it right, because it's seeing the rhythm, not just hearing it. Okay. The other thing that I'm adding in is what we call descriptors or illustrators. In fact, I think you heard Rick earlier on talk about illustrating. Okay. These are the gestures that kind of paint pictures for you about what I'm saying. And even those illustrators can be baton gestures as well. Your illustrators can move along to the rhythm. So look, I'm not saying do it as much as I do it, but I'm saying your audience must see some of that, whether you're coaching them, whether you are influencing and persuading them in some way to change their behavior. They need to see more, not less. And actually, I'm just going to pick up on a question, Rick, that's coming through here, which is from Roger saying, okay, well, how do you feel about virtual backgrounds? You'll notice you can see a lot of my background at the moment, and it's a real background. It's not virtual. Let me just prove it to you. Real, solid, proper cushions. Okay, this is, in fact, this cushion here, my mum made for me for my 50th birthday out of a collection of Hawaiian shirts that I have. They were getting a bit threadbare. I gave them to her and I said, will you make me a patchwork cushion? It's a lovely cushion. Reminds me of my mum. She's very skilled at that. Now, what's the great benefit of the real background rather than the virtual background? You get some insight into me and my life. You start to understand my values. That story about the cushion here, that story about the cushion there, actually tells you something about what I care about. Yeah, and when you understand what is important to me, you can trust me more. And if you're trying to coach somebody or you're trying to win them over as an entrepreneur or somebody in sales or leadership, the more they trust you, the more you can influence and persuade them. If it's a virtual background, chances are it may not have a great connection with your actual life. And what it's partly there for is to stop people seeing some of your life. Now, I understand some of the reasons why you might want to do that, because you're not quite happy with the background that you really have. I totally understand that. There might be some risk in that. So if you are going to put up a virtual background, make it something that is truly about you. Sure, you can be on a beautiful beach if you want to, but make it a beautiful beach that you've actually been to or that you'd love to be in. Look, if I put up my favorite beach in Hawaii, the Mauna Kea beach, and I said, look, I've decided that we're going to have this keynote on the Mauna Kea beach because certainly I'm missing that. I won't get to that this year, and I love going there. And I wonder what you're missing at the moment in your life, during this time, which is difficult for everybody. What are you missing most? Notice how that virtual background is a way for me to get to what you value most, what you might be missing, and you're quite likely to tell me that because I told you something about me. Rick, I want to come back to you. What questions have we got coming in? I think I see some coming in. So which one shall I answer for you?
Yeah, we do. First of all, I just want to say that I love what you said about the virtual background versus picking your own, because it's at the beginning we were always kind of just going virtual, and now we get to show some personality. And by the map in the background, you know that I'm missing travel. So it's perfectly exactly what you said.
And also, that I know that tells me something about you, because I know you're actually really well traveled. I know you have great associations with Japan, and like, how else would somebody know that about you?
Right.
Other than seeing those images around you, and that image could lead into a conversation about you. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So here's the questions. So another question is, what about sitting versus standing when presenting?
Yeah, good. Okay, so one of the benefits of standing, again, so long as you bring that camera up, because notice, if I stand and I have height dominance over you, probably not so good. So I've got to, head back, stand in a way. Well, look, if I do stand, first of all, I have to raise my voice so it reaches the microphone well enough. Okay, but if I do stand, yes, you can see more of me. There may be some trust and credibility there, but ultimately, cameras work really well on close-up. They do really well on winning trust and credibility through proximity. So I would go for the proximity rather than the distance. However, standing does give you a great deal of energy as well. So I would stand in order to create the energy, but you still want to keep yourself close up to the camera, because these cameras do proximity really well, distance not so well. Hope that answers that question for you there. Rick, what else have we got?
We have a question from Evan. He says, Mark, your attire is great. Is that your norm for all video calls?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me tell you about the principles under which I dress how I dress. There are certain things at the moment in the current situation that I cannot choose. In fact, I'm in Ontario at the moment, and we're under somewhat of a lockdown right now. And so choices are being reduced for me. You'll know as well as I do, when choices are reduced, levels of dopamine go down and we become a little more depressed. When choices go up, when we can make choices, we become more buoyant, we become more optimistic. It's a much better world for us. There is something that I can choose pretty much every day of my life right now, which is what I wear. And so I say to you, you want to be choosing what you wear. You don't want to be on a video call, certainly an important one, and suddenly go, what am I wearing? I wonder why I'm wearing that today. You want to know what you're wearing before you ever got on that video call, because it's a choice you can make. And there's sometimes in video calls, you don't know what's going to happen next. Here's what I choose to wear. I choose to wear exactly what you'd see me in if this were a live keynote, if I'd come round to your office to consult with you, if this is my uniform. And why do I decide to wear my uniform? I mean, I'm at home right now, okay? So why am I wearing my work uniform? It's because you matter. And I want you to know that you matter, that you're important enough to me that even in the comfort of my own home, I'm going to dress professionally for you. And also, I need to keep triggering myself that although we're in my home together, this is still a professional relationship. And I want to keep that good balance between you feeling very welcome in my life, and at the same time, there's a certain distance that says we're still doing something quite professional here. So, Rick, I hope that answers that question there. What else you got for me?
Oh, I've got another one. Christina asks, are these different types of gestures outlined in your book/books? So maybe you could let her know where she could find the truth plane, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was talking earlier about the truth plane here, and I'm spending most of my time in that passion plane right now. Number one, because I need to keep this really energized and animated for you in order to remind you that I am a live human being right now. This is not a video recording. I am alive, you're alive, and therefore you have a social responsibility to me to engage. Because if I don't keep reminding you that I am live and energetic right now, you'll easily switch off and go, this is like a piece of TV. He's not really listening to me. He doesn't really care about me. He's hardly alive. I'm just going to become a very passive consumer of this. Oh, and maybe find something more interesting to do at some point where people actually care about me. Okay. So yes, I'm keeping my energy up right now by being in that passion plane. all of this stuff about the gesture planes you will find in my first book. Let me grab it for you here, which is Winning Body Language, which has all that stuff about the gesture planes in it. If you want to know about baton gestures, illustrators, and all those other things, I would go for Truth and Lies, What People Are Really Thinking. Let me grab it from over here, which is by myself and co-author Tracy Thompson. And that stuff is in there. Rick, give me some more questions. What do we got?
Yeah, so we have a question. First of all, people are saying thank you so much for the tips. It's great, especially the virtual background. I think that that's an important tip. And Annalise also wants to have your opinion about wearing glasses. I think this is something you and I talked about before. So, what do you think about the glasses? Should they wear them? Should they not? Does it interfere somehow? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. At the moment right now, and this is very new for me, I've only had glasses for just over a year. And Rick, you've probably never seen me in glasses before.
Not before COVID.
Not before COVID. I hadn't seen me in glasses before COVID. I can't see, I can't operate the screen. I can't read anything without these. I'm seeing lots of people that I never knew needed glasses in glasses. I even have to have these things on here because I'm pretty animated and the glasses don't fit as well as they should, or I don't know. I don't understand glasses yet. So I don't understand how to keep them on your face or any of that stuff. So I'm just working with them. Here's what I do know. It's very easy for the light to shine in them and get reflection. I got a big ring lamp up here. You can see it when my eyes go up to there. Yeah. Now, what you want to make sure of, so you're not getting too much glare and too much reflection, is your lighting is a little bit higher above your head. If it's actually at face height, which is kind of where you're meant to have ring lights, so you get that beautiful ring in your eye, doesn't actually work that well when you've got glasses on. So, my best hint is, look, you've got to see what's going on. Okay, so wear glasses, of course. Okay, but you're going to have to do something with the lighting to adapt to that glare. That's all. Rick, what else have we got? Let's have more questions.
Well, there's actually a follow-up to that. So regarding the glasses, somebody mentioned that they sometimes can see the reflection in someone's glasses and they can actually see their inbox. So they're talking to someone by Zoom and they can see the reflection. I mean, I've never heard of this, but what do we do in that scenario? Do we tell them or what do we do?
Sure. Well, I mean, maybe being able to see their inbox and getting the freeze frame of that and being able to work out who they are or are not getting emails from, that's really some high level, espionage stuff. I think most of us don't need to worry about that. I was on last night or 2 nights ago with the behaviour panel crew, and a number of them do work with special services and intelligence services. And we were showing the audience our YouTube awards back here, and we had them here. And one of the guys went, "Okay, by the way, this acts as a mirror, so make sure anything you don't want in shot is out of view in the front here." So look, I honestly don't think most of us need to worry about that level of reflection. I don't think it matters too much for the majority of us. Listen, if you are working for one of the international national security services, you might want to avoid that. For the rest of us, we're going to be okay. Rick, what else have we got there?
Well, I mean, we're going to do a poll is what we're going to do. We've got great interaction so far. And time flies when you're having fun. So we're going to do a poll. So once again, we're going to ask people, as you and I continue to chat, we're going to ask people to please scan the QR code there and play the next poll. And have a chance to win prizes, gain points. So I think you made a great point about the glasses, and I think I would just be honest with the person, maybe say, I can see, but I mean, how sharp do my eyes have to be able to read their inbox, right? It's a whole nother level that I'm not used to thinking about.
It is another level that I don't think most of us are working with. And actually, to your point, Rick, I think this is an opportunity in history to be a little more transparent and open with people. I work with a lot of people who are in financial services, for example. And look, the point is if you can't be honest with me about what might be around your environment, how can I trust you're going to be honest with me when you take all of my money and invest it for me? Like, just be honest with people take a little bit more risk, and I'm sure you'll see the benefits of that. So what do we got as this poll, Rick?
Let's see the questions for the poll. Let's see.
Yeah,
it says, how many streaming shows have you completed in the last few months? 1 to 3, or 3 to 6. So Netflix and Amazon Prime. I'm sure these accounts are gaining by the numbers every day. So what about you? Have you been through any good series at home? Or
I've been through, yeah. Well, obviously what's the one about the chess? Queen's. Queen's Gambit. Is it Queen's Gambit?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was amazing. I think it's Queen's Gambit. That is phenomenal. Oh, we just got Disney Plus, so I'm doing The Mandalorian. Rick, you must be. Are you a big Star Wars fan? Are you a Star Wars fan?
I'm more of a Star Trek fan, but I like Star Wars. But I don't have. I've got Amazon Prime, so I watch things like The Boys and Man in the High Castle, which is fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard good things about The Boys. Yeah.
So that's my entertainment. But I never would have thought about it too much. Which one?
We've got the results in. What
do we? Okay.
I think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to be the top. Oh, okay, somewhere in between. Yeah. 1 to 3. Wow. People are obviously reading more books than I do. I would imagine.
We have a lot of serious business people attending who are like, look, I don't have time for watching all those series, man. I got to do some work. So it could be one or the other. I think we have one last question before I wrap up. It's from Mahani. Says, when there are other people in the room, how should we set up the camera? And so on. And I think he means a shared space of some kind.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I have seen people in their offices and the camera, and there's a lot of activity behind, and it's actually quite nice to see if it's well in the background. Okay. News stations do this a great deal. You'll have like the news anchor, and then in the background, you see the kind of stuff going on. And the idea is to make you feel like it's a hive of activity, and they're working really hard to bring you the hard and the solid news and ask those really difficult questions of the people and the politicians. So I think that we have a history of seeing stuff happening in the background and it being a good signal. So I'm not against it at all, but obviously you don't want stuff happening in close proximity because that will diverge their attention. But if you can get stuff happening in the background, yeah, I think I'm totally fine with that. If you can get quite a nice camera on it so it's kind of blurred out in the background as well, that could be pretty interesting as well and actually make you look like a hard news channel. So I hope that makes sense to you, Rick. Look, I hope I've managed to get across some interesting ideas to everybody here today. I'm going to be on a panel later on, and so I'll be answering some more questions there. But I hope you've got some tools and techniques that you can use really easily. If you have more questions for me, just link in with me. I accept all LinkedIns, and I do answer your questions on LinkedIn. So do link in with me, and I'll answer your questions there. Rick, it's great to see you because we haven't actually seen each other for a long time. And I really hope we're going to get together, in the not too distant future and raise a glass together. Yes. So thanks for having me here again, Rick, and I'll see you later.
Thanks very much, Mark. See you at 3:15 for the panel.
Lovely. See you then.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Time flies when you're having fun, right? And one of the advantages of doing a virtual event is that we can be nice and quick and energetic and back and forth. And that's why all these speakers are 30 minutes, right? Technically 20 minutes to speak and 10 minutes Q&A. But I think you've noticed that most speakers don't mind questions coming up at any point. So where are we now? We finished our keynote. And like Mark said, we're going to see him again at 3:15. For the panel discussion about marketing during COVID. But for now, you've got a 15-minute break. You can take a break, you can come back, you can go to the networking lounge. It's the City of Toronto networking lounge where you can actually interact with different people, if you like, and meet different people and connect. It is part of our networking strategy for this event today. So at 2 p.m., we're going to come back to the breakout rooms. So from that main lobby that Louis talked about earlier, you would go to the LearnGistics breakout rooms, that icon, and click into, you'll see LearnGistics, and there's rooms. So there'll be 2 speakers happening at the same time. So you would choose which speaker you want to attend, and you would go to that breakout room. It'd be a Zoom breakout room. And same thing, you can listen to the speaker, you can type in your questions to the chat, someone will make sure the questions get to the speaker, and you can do that, and you can bounce a little bit if you want. Then there'll be a short break, then there'll be another 2 speakers you can choose from, same thing in that area. And then a short break, and then the main stage at 3:15 for a wrap up. So I believe the day will go fast. I want to thank you so far for your attention and for the great questions, and we'll see you soon. That's it for now. Bye now.